Once we got rolling, we never look back. We certainly have come a long way. Thing is, we're just getting started.
NFL players are known to get down and dirty when it comes to their game. They travel down a road of degeneracy and violence when all they have in mind is winning. Let's take a look at the dirtiest NFL players of all time. Number 10. Albert Heinsworth. Heinsworth is one person who has been going team to team to figure out what his style of play is. Sadly, he wasn't able to figure out what his style is, and since then, hasn't been with an NFL team since 2011. Some people might even know why he wasn't able to cut it in the NFL. The former defensive tackle was a dirty player and replaced his skill with every different way to hurt any of his opponents so he could get the edge over them. But being with the Tennessee Titans was the most heinous he had ever been. By the end of the play, Heinsworth took the liberty to step on the head of Andre Gurode. And no, it wasn't his helmet that he stepped on. It was his unprotected skull, which was stomped on by cleats. After that, as it should have been, Heinsworth was tossed from the game and served a 5-game suspension without pay.
We also have an additional penalty for throwing his helmet to the ground. That player is disqualified.
You might think this is disgusting, but we're just getting started. Number 9. James Harrison. Some people might say that James Harrison deserves to be higher on the list. However, we don't think that's the case. Harrison has always been a very physical human being, but seeing him on the football field was something you had probably never seen before. He made it his life's mission to destroy whoever was in his way. And of course, he did break a few rules, but some were just looked at as kind of hits. Harrison hit low with his head and racked in some serious expensive fines, totaling about $150,000. However, after his style of hitting was made public, Harrison stopped being a headhunter and instead started going for the knees. He established a reputation of distrust when he was on the Steelers and played for the Patriots for a year before he finally retired. James Harrison was more of a physical player than he was dirty, which is why we believe there are others way worse than him. Number 8. Aqib Talib. Speaking of worse, there are a number of things that put Aqib Talib on this list. However, the most notable is when he came into contact with receiver Michael Crabtree. During the game, Talib came over and snatched the golden chain Crabtree was wearing. He took it off the field in a satisfied manner, showing the world he had accomplished something big by stealing. Crabtree got his revenge at their next meeting. The two were lined up against each other in a game when they both got tossed from the game for fighting in the first quarter. This apparently occurred when Talib had the audacity to grab another chain off Crabtree's neck. Not only that, but Aqib Talib has been constantly accused of illegal tackling, eye gouging, and fighting with his opponents. He also had a fight with Steve Smith that people have a hard time forgetting. He sure is entertaining, just not in the way the public wants.
What happened between you and Talib on the field early in the game?
I don't know. You go ask him because he didn't finish the game. Ice up, son. Ice up.
Number 7. Deshaun Goldson. Some players learn some valuable lessons from what happens to them, and some players just brush these off. Deshaun Goldson is the latter. He has been a prominent repeat offender of very dangerous and unnecessary hits. He even gained an infamous stat for his record of 20 unnecessary roughness penalties since 2009. However, this didn't stop Deshaun. He continued to headhunt in 2013, racking up 3 fines totaling over $190,000. After all this and his refusal to learn from his mistakes, the only option left was to suspend him. And that's what happened. The most memorable moment that comes to mind when talking about Deshaun Goldson is when he hit Darren Sproles. Still a disgusting memory.
Sproles up. Oh, he gets blasted. The ball is loose and there's a flag.
Number 6. Jack Tatum. For someone who was nicknamed the Assassin, how could they not end up on this list? Jack Tatum was a player on the Oakland Raiders being drafted in the 19th pick of the 1971 draft. He embraced the nickname he got and lived up to it in all its glory by destroying everyone he came into contact with on the field. Not only that, but his infamous moment on the field came at a great cost for the other player. The other player mentioned here is none other than receiver Darryl Stingley, and it wasn't a normal hit. Jack's actions paralyzed Stingley, reducing him to nothing but a wheelchair-ridden player who had to spend the remainder of his life being helpless until his death in 2007.
And you hit a guy, and you always expect him to get up. And Stingley just didn't get up.
After that, Tatum felt major remorse and issued a statement to Stingley's family. However, the damage had already been done, and there's no way to undo it. Although, it would have helped if Jack said that he will not apologize for the way he played in the NFL. Looking at what the league playing style is today, we are certain Jack Tatum wouldn't be a good fit. Number 5. Richie Incognito. Richie Incognito was nothing if not a dirty player. He's most famously known for his awful bullying methods and his loud mouth that is, to this day, still gets him in trouble. He was even in the news recently for saying he wanted to cut off the head of his dead father at his funeral. You think that's crazy? We have more. Richie was named a bully by then Miami Dolphins teammate Jonathan Martin, who accused him and 2 others of bullying him until he was eventually traded. When Jonathan revealed this information to the public, Richie went even dirtier than before. Don't think that was possible? And sent death threats, racial slurs, and comments about Jonathan's mother and sister. If this isn't evidence of how dirty Richie was then, we don't know what would be. Richie was ultimately suspended for his actions, but he continued doing anything he could just so people would talk about him. Being dirty doesn't necessarily mean on the field, like Richie proved. If you've a rotten core like this, you're dirty regardless. But what could we even expect from a man whose last name is Incognito? Nothing good ever comes from that. Number 4. Conrad Dobler. Conrad Dobler, the former offensive tackle for the Arizona Cardinals, proved to the world how dirty he actually is. He made headlines when he punched Mean Joe Green in the face, and it wasn't the first time he had done so. He had a reputation for using gruesome methods to disorient his opponents. He would wait until they got close to him and then would spit in the face of his opponents. The literal definition of dirty. Once they would be temporarily blindsided, he would hit, punch, or kick them underneath their pads. You know the most ironic part? He would claim he's not a dirty player, but instead would always be in the gray area of things. But it is widely known that Conrad Dobler was one of the meanest and dirtiest players of all time. So much that even Sports Illustrated named him the dirtiest player in football at one time. Number 3. Vontaze Burfict. Vontaze Burfict is one NFL player who has been heavily criticized for his style of playing. His well-known enemies were the Pittsburgh Steelers, who he always wanted to injure no matter what. This included Bell, Roethlisberger, and of course, the huge Antonio Brown hit that started a heated debate on Burfict's playing ethics. He has had many targets throughout his career and is mostly commonly known as the NFL's dirtiest player today. He has hit Martellus Bennett and Ryan Taylor below the belt to try to draw fines, twisted the ankles of Cam Newton, fought his own teammates, and much more than that he's done to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Considering his antics throughout his short career, it's hard to believe that he spent about $786,549 in fines to his name. Number 2. Bill Romanowski. Big Bad Bill deserves the number 2 spot on this list. However, most of his anger was caused by steroids. If he had played without them, he might not have been as aggressive as he was. His famous dirty actions include breaking the jaw of then Carolina Panthers quarterback Kerry Collins during the preseason when there was no reason for it to happen. He also broke the finger of running back Dave Maggott, claiming that it sounded like a chicken bone breaking in half, which he enjoyed very much. He also spit in the face of wide receiver J.J. Stokes during a live game, which is the ultimate sense of disrespect.
Did what?
He even went as far as to hit Oakland Raiders teammate Marcus Williams in the eye, shattering his eye socket in the process. The poor guy was forced to retire after suffering from double vision, memory loss, and depression. Bill did come to terms with his anger later, although it was too late. Number 1. Ndamukong Suh. Suh is less of an NFL player and more of a total freight train of destruction and cheap shots. He has been criticized immensely for his actions of play. However, that never stopped him. In 2004, Suh broke the leg of Aaron Rodgers by standing on it for too long. He had to pay a massive fine of $100,000. As if that wasn't daft enough, Suh responded saying his leg was too numb to tell the difference between Aaron's leg and the ground. He didn't care who he hurt when he was on the field, and even off it. He kicked Ryan Fitzpatrick in the head, kicked Matt Schwab and Ben Roethlisberger in the testicles, punched Jay Cutler in the head, and kicked offensive lineman Evan Smith in the arm and stomach. He's racked up an infamous total of $611,169 in fines, as well as 2-game suspensions. We don't think any of these fines or suspensions are going to teach him a lesson anytime soon. And there it is, a list of 10 dirtiest NFL players of all time. Which one of these is your favorite player? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.